So, not recently, but not that long ago, we came to find out that the wizard Liz's partner had disrespected her and had cheated on her. Now, if you don't know who the wizard Liz, she became, she is basically, she became YouTube famous for giving relationship advice and sort of helping women kind of, ask for what they were looking for. And long story short, she was a little bit controversial because she kind of, said go for high value, don't settle, things like that. And there's so much in what she was saying and said over the years that I agreed with, and then there was a few things in here and there that I wasn't 100% aligned with. And she says it herself, it doesn't have to be exactly like what I'm saying, make it fit your specific criteria, blah blah blah, right? Ultimately, a lot of people would compare her to like Andrew Tate for women. Sorry, I wouldn't say that because I don't think she ever put men down. I don't think she ever made, men seem like, second-class citizens. So I personally don't agree with that comparison. I think she is someone who is more, along the lines of high-value men, looking for a high-value man. I have to switch it over here. I'm sorry, but I'm filming in the car. And it's extremely hot, but I had to get this out of my head because I've been thinking about this for a really long time and I wanted to say it. And you might disagree with me, and that's absolutely fine. You're allowed to. But she got cheated on. And one of the things she was saying is, you hold yourself high, you never accept disrespect. And people, mostly women, were going online and saying, well, if she gets cheated on, she's like our guru, in the wizard Liz we trust, right? If she gets cheated on, then, we're all gonna get cheated on. And I really dislike this rhetoric. I think as a woman, it's so damaging to say, if so-and-so gets cheated on, then what's the hope for me? That's exactly what the wizard Liz was saying not to do, is to not put yourself down and not think little of yourself and not, settle for less. She literally talked about holding yourself high, valuing yourself, respecting yourself. Like, if you think that because she got cheated on, which is a circumstance within of itself, she made a bad choice, she picked the wrong one. It's not like we all go into a relationship knowing we're going to get cheated on, And to my knowledge, I've never been cheated on, but I've been with not great people. And you know what? It says more about them than it does about me, because if I give you my trust and confidence, that's on you if you break it. It doesn't mean that I go down a notch just because you stepped out on me. That's on you, Like, ultimately, everyone is responsible and accountable for their own actions. And so the thing that I really dislike is I'm seeing all these women going, well, she got cheated on, I guess that means we're gonna... Do you not have any value in yourself? Like, I don't mean this in a degrading way, but like, you need to value yourself more and stop comparing yourself. The wizard Liz's situation is its own thing. She is in a very specific scenario. She is a very well-known person. She has a respectable amount of money. She has status, so she's not like everybody else. But that doesn't mean that you put yourself in comparison to her and only compare the negative. Why don't you compare yourself to her and say, if the wizard Liz, could manifest all this money, so can I. Why don't you do that, Like, as a woman, I don't like this. I hate that people make it seem like us plebs and normal folks are just bound to get cheated on. Like, just because a beautiful, successful YouTube woman who tells you how to attract good men attracted a bad man, guess what? He wasn't bad at first. They never are. You know what I mean? Like, a wolf doesn't immediately tell you, hey, I'm a wolf. You know, they hide in sheep's clothing for that very reason. So I don't like this rhetoric of women going online and saying, if she got cheated on, I'm gonna get cheated on. Like, that's just the only way. That's the only acceptable ending, you know? I feel like as a woman, you have got to love yourself more, you know? I would never look at my sister, I would never look at my mother and tell them, Wizard Liz got cheated on, so guess what? You know, your boyfriend, my dad, can't be faithful now. Like, she picked one bad guy. That's not the end of the world. Like, stop lowering your standards and stop comparing yourself to one specific situation. This is not all people. You know, she did not deserve what happened. And just because it happened to her doesn't mean that it's going to happen to you. Stop thinking so low of yourself. If you actually listen to what she says, you would know better than to put yourself in such a negative state of mind and a negative vibration where you're already saying, that's going to happen to me. Well, guess what? Yeah, if you have that mentality where you think you deserve to get cheated on, or you think you're going to, you probably will. Why would you think that way? And I'm being so, like, you know, direct, because I don't like when women or men, I don't like when people think so negatively. Like, so what? You know, like, are we not all beautiful? Are we not all confident and capable and have the opportunity? I'm not saying we all look like the Wizard Liz. No, we don't. But that doesn't mean that we don't deserve love, and we don't deserve trust, and we don't deserve a loyal partner. So why are women speaking in this plural of, then we're all, you know, doomed? I'm not doomed. I'm sorry, but that's not my opinion of myself. I don't think I'm the most beautiful woman in the world, but I think I'm beautiful. I think I bring amazing qualities, you know. I have a partner, I have a fiance actually, and to my knowledge, who's never stepped out on me. I've never stepped out on him, and I have confidence in him because he's gained that with time, and I've gained his confidence. It's a give and receive. We both complement each other, but I would never tell him, like, hey, guess what? The Wizard Liz got cheated on, so you can just go ahead and cheat on me now. You need to have self-love. Like, you're never going to attract. Let's not even focus about a person. If we just think about the fact that if you don't have self-love for yourself, if you don't think highly of yourself, and not on a pedestal, and not like you're the greatest thing in the world and nobody can touch you. No, I mean, think highly of yourself as in, I'm a good person, I'm smart, I'm educated, I'm beautiful, I'm a kind person, I do good things. Like, if you don't value your qualities, how can you expect anybody else to? And I have a perfect example of this, because I was in such a bad relationship at one point in my life where I exuded confidence and it was all fake. And guess what? That's why I got treated so badly in that relationship, because I did not love myself. I did not love myself. I would post pictures of myself all the time and my boobs were hanging out. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just so you understand my mindset. Cleavage was constantly hanging out, butt sticking out, duck lips, you know, just doing all this stupid stuff and seeking validation from the world. You want to know why? Because I felt so ugly on the inside. And you want to know who knew that? That person. And you want to know what that person did? They treated me like shit. It got so bad, I can't even begin to explain how bad it got. It got so bad. I will tell you this, and I won't go into details, but I almost lost my life. That's how bad. Okay? So, what I ultimately want you to take from this rant is that you deserve better. Stop thinking negatively. You have to love yourself so others can love you too.